Harry Styles returns in a slightly new form with the existential alt pop and kind of disco, kiss all the time, disco occasionally, which ends up having great potential all the time, but only being good occasionally. This is his fourth studio album now, following the success of the funky dance pop Harry's House and As It Was, which is one of his best songs. Here we get a further entry into the dance pop realm, discussing losing yourself on the dance floor, forming and maintaining complex relationships, and general personal evolution. Now, I admire Harry for experimenting and trying out new styles. I mean, it's literally in his name, right? But something feels quite empty and hollow in many of the tracks here on this new album. Though I did enjoy this album more than I thought I would, especially after my conflicted feelings on the lead single Aperture, whose existence feels quite awkward despite its groovy and upbeat chorus, yet kind of boring progression. It's a song about opening up to positivity and life's many experiences, as is the whole theme of the album as well. And I really wanted to enjoy it more, but I just hit a wall because the production didn't wow me. I loved Harry's vocals all the time, but only grooved along occasionally. I felt similar with tracks like American Girls and Taste Back. The flow is strong, the beats are groovy, not necessarily disco, though I did enjoy these tracks quite a bit, even though lyrics weren't its strongest suit, especially during the choruses, which left me wanting a bit more from the melody. Ready Steady Go has a solid bass line, though I really struggled to connect to this song simply because it's not as interesting as its neighboring tracks. I like a lot of the piano features on this album, but Harry's vocals are mostly the highlight here, not the vocal filters or the production choices necessarily. So, yeah, this track is a bit forgettable. A couple tracks I did really like though are You Listening Yet, which is a real tummy tickler, or Season 2 Weight Loss as well. Melodically, these are more engaging tracks, and the percussions are actually quite good here. I feel like lyrically there is a lot more impact, and with Are You Listening Yet, I love that breakdown with the drums, the vocal harmonies, and that little guitar solo as well. It does feel quite grand. Season 2 Weight Loss reminding me of something off of 21 Pilots' Vessel, which you may know I'm a big fan of that sound. And the overall flow plus the vocal harmonies again, just really solid throughout. So yeah, these are definitely the album highlights for sure. Harry gathered his inspirations from LCD Sound System and Nights Out Clubbing in Berlin, which I can kind of hear in some of its elements. You can hear this in tracks like the lead single Aperture and even Pop, which I guess is kind of disco themed, just not on a nearly as impressive scale. But Pop does actually have a really solid melody and it does hit the right notes. It's a really catchy track and it is certainly one of the best ones on the album as well, though it does get a bit repetitive at times. I do feel Harry needs to be a lot bolder with his inspirations and just take a leap of faith, especially considering his huge fan base. I mean, he doesn't need to worry what the critics think, right? There are a few tracks on here which do feel like Harry's House leftovers that haven't been fully ironed out yet, such as The Waiting Game and Paint by Numbers, which kind of just go in one ear and out the other, unfortunately. So these are unfortunately my least favorites, and coming up Roses too, though it does have sweet and clean vocals alongside some really nice strings, and lyrically it's quite nice too, but I just feel like it needs a bit more of a punch. Dance No More is a fine tune for sure. Production wise, it's more impactful and bold, it's more disco, with a crisp melody, and I'm a big fan of those background vocals too. It almost reminds me of 2000s Justin Timberlake a little bit. And then Carla's song is actually really well written, it's got nice instrumentation, good pacing, overall a really good outro, though maybe I was expecting something a bit more grand and groovy for the finale, maybe like a big party anthem, but still, I really enjoy this track and it is definitely a highlight. So overall, I did actually really enjoy this album, though it did feel a little bit lackluster in some of its middle stretches, and it didn't really have a hit like Harry's House did with As It Was, for example, or even Music for a Sushi Restaurant or Late Night Talking, which were great tracks and kind of felt more disco-y than many of the tracks here on this new album. And it certainly isn't as good as Fine Line, which had smash hits like Watermelon Sugar, Golden, and even psychedelic deep cuts like She. It's clear that Harry is continuing to gather his groovy influences into becoming more of a dance pop figure, but I think he needs to make overall bolder decisions and iron out some of those deep cuts which bring down the overall momentum. I think choosing a better lead single, such as Pop or even Are You Listening Yet, would have been a better choice personally, but I do feel maybe Aperture is a bit of a bold step, though it does feel a bit safer on the production side of things. So, yeah, like I said, I had a lot of fun listening to this album, even though it does have its flaws. Unfortunately, I do prefer Harry's other albums, with Fine Line still being my personal favorite. I did want to rate this higher, but I also didn't want to rate it too high, but I will future-proof the score. It didn't amaze me, even though I did still vibe with it, so I'm feeling a decently strong 6 out of 10 on Kiss All the Time, Disco Occasionally by Harry Styles. So I hope you enjoyed my thoughts on this brand new Harry Styles album. Let me know in the comments below if you loved it or if you felt a bit underwhelmed by it. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more album reviews and music rankings. That would be fantastic. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.